Simon. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is, doing cleansings and just defending with whatever you got. A lot of big stuff is going on, and I want to show you all this article right here. Check it out from the New Yorker. It's from July 16th. Vienna is the new Havana syndrome hotspot. Now, probably for this video, I'm going to make the description, the title. I'm going to make the title for the video, Vienna is the new Havana syndrome hotspot, because we know, right, that it's not like, oh, it's just started over there. It's happened. It's just started happening over there. We know that it's happening to millions and millions of citizens around the world, right? Experimentation and torture, and then some U.S. spies and diplomats are being hit in different places, and it's being reported, and those reports are being accepted, but it's not like it's just starting, right? This is going to be kind of an annoying one because there's something on the top. Maybe I can exit out. I can exit out of this thing. Hold on 1 second. Can I just exit? It's going to be doing that the whole time. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with that. Okay, so we know that it's just been happening for years and years and decades, but now they're like, oh, Vienna is the new place that it's happening, right? And that's not true. But I'm going to go ahead and see. This is going to suck. Okay, let's just go ahead and start reading it. Roughly 24 possible new cases have been reported by U.S. spies and diplomats in the Austrian capital, more than in any other city except Havana itself. Since Joe Biden took office, about 24 U.S. intelligence officers, diplomats, and other government officials in Vienna have reported experiencing mysterious afflictions similar to the Havana syndrome. U.S. officials say, and I forgot to name the person that wrote the article, propagandist from the CIA, Adam Entos. Okay, so Vienna have reported experiencing mysterious afflictions similar to the Havana syndrome. U.S. officials say the number of possible new cases in the Austrian capital, long a along a nexus of U.S. and Russian espionage, is now greater than the number reported by officials in any city except for Havana itself, where the first cases were reported. Now, you see, we're seeing all of these new places, right? All of these places around the world, and they named 10 in that other mainstream article that I went through, 10 places where embassy workers or agents, U.S. agents, are being hit with remote microwave weapons, right? Now, we see this, this is the great thing that it's rolling out, right? Y'all see this, right? That it cannot be stopped. The rollout of this going on, and you know what I'm going to do? Directly after this video, I'm going to read the comments for the video before. I've never seen more hopeful comments and people like putting out, positive information about moving forward. This sucks. Like, my torture's awful. I feel like I'm in a race because they're doing this stuff to my brain and encroaching on my brain and messing with my brain so much. And I'm like, ooh, this is a progressive thing. I can get the pain down, but the stuff they're doing to my brain and making me feel, completely different. It seems progressive. They have to do that because they're trying to mimic mental illness. And usually with mental illness, it gets worse, right? So they're trying to, match that exactly. So that's not good for us, and it seems to fit into this protocol of mapping the entire brain and automatically doing different things in different parts of the brain and just keeping that rolling on, right? Um, this is it's very serious stuff. It's very dangerous stuff. And just, but I kind of feel like I'm running against the clock, which is weird. What I think is that, will God will provide. So even if it's like the program doesn't end when I need it to, we'll find something, right, to kind of buy us time to get us through as we're finding help, right? There's some points on the last video that, like, I said, but I didn't think about before I made the video, right, that I want to come back and talk about because there's like hope in them that is not questionable. There's a movement forward, and in like a factual evidence that we will factual like a factual road where we will get real evidence. Like we will. That we will know exactly the evidence which is acceptable, and we will be able to get that evidence. Now, when, right, and everything else going on, uh, question is questionable. The exact cause of the ailments in Vienna, which U.S. government agencies formally refer to as anomalous health incidents, U.S. government agencies. The interesting thing is that the director of the CIA does not ever call them health incidents and calls them attacks. So the Burns, the director of the CIA, maybe they'll have something coming up from him. Yeah, probably. Yeah, okay. Let's read this. It'll say or unexplained health incidents remains unknown. But in response to the surge, the CIA, the State Department, and other agencies are redoubling their efforts to determine the cause. And we've already determined the cause. Everybody that watches my videos, me on every video, we know we've completed the investigation. We've completed the investigation, so it behooves us to help them out. We've got to help them with their investigation. And there's a bunch of citizens being hit with this stuff. Apparently, maybe they know, maybe they don't know, but we need to push on that because that's helping them with their investigation. Please see this the right way. Since they are putting this out as a horrible thing that's being done to people, remote microwave attacks, neuroweapons attacks, and it's horrible, and it is horrible, but I'm saying from their side, they're like, this is horrible, so we need to find the reason for it, and we need to find everybody that's being hit by it. Let's help them, right? Please, this is changing where, and it's conditioning, right? Where it's like, oh, we're seen as crazy people, and everything we say, it's like, oh, you stop wanting to talk about it, right? Because you're being treated so bad. The tables have flipped where we can help them with an investigation. We can call the FBI and give them more information, and cowardly they will go, oh, I don't want it, I don't want this to be recorded because there's so many people being tortured. There's no way out for them, right? Right? We've been so many years, no way out for us. We can't go any. There's no way out for them. It's just the timing, okay? I'm sorry that I said it like that. It's just the timing, okay? But it's the timing, right? Okay, the State Department and other agencies are redoubling their efforts to determine the cause and to identify the culprit or culprits. A CIA spokesperson said that the agency's director, William Burns, was personally engaged with personnel affected by anomalous health incidents and is highly committed to their care and to determining the cause of these incidents. Privately, Burns has called the maladies attacks rather than incidents. A State Department spokesman said, in coordination with our partners across the U.S. government, we are vigorously investigating reports of possible unexplained health incidents among the U.S. Embassy Vienna community. The Havana syndrome derives its name from the Cuban capital where CIA officers and State Department employees first reported experiencing strange sensations of sound and pressure in their heads in 2016 and 2017. So 2016 was the initial, those State Department workers reported to the Miami Herald, right? It got to the Miami Herald first that they were experiencing these symptoms. My first video on YouTube, and this is like there were videos before, right, from other targeted individuals saying they're being hit by something in the chest, being hit by something in the head, or being hit with microwaves because we'd look it up. We'd get the high pitched sound in our ears and we'd look up. That's how I found out. Like I thought it was some, and I guess people have heard my story, but I thought it was some kind of what they call the mosquito. And overseas, mostly they do use it here, but overseas they'll put it in a parking lot, right? Like on a if you got a Walmart or something like that at night, or a building that would be closed at night, and you'd have the mosquitoes on the side of the building, and if any young kids came in and to loiter, they'd hear this high pitched sound, right? But and it was really weird because they say at a certain age you lose the ability to hear that high pitched sound that the mosquito makes. And what I thought is like my hearing was just special or something, so I could hear the mosquito. blah blah blah. But you know, found out that it was microwave weapons, right? The reason that I found out what this was is because I looked up high pitched sound, right? High pitched sound in the ears, and it said tinnitus, and then there was something like tinnitus caused by electromagnetic frequencies. And I clicked on that, and it was Timothy Trespass. He was the first targeted individual I ever saw on a YouTube video playing a high pitched sound that was like tinnitus, right? And then knowing, okay, this is electromagnetic frequencies. Like right when I was discovering high pitched sound, electromagnetic frequencies, then looking into it, right, and finding out directed energy, remote microwaves, and such like that. First, I really thought it was ground microwave weapons, right? It took me a long time to figure out the remote aspect of it, you know. But my point in all that is that was in like 2013, because 2013 I started my YouTube channel. So in 2013 I was publicly talking about being hit by remote microwaves. 2016 was the beginning of the Cuban embassy workers contacting the Miami Herald and all that rolling out, right? How many of you guys, you target individuals, spoke out long before 2016? I believe that's going to be some major proof. Like when I get a lawyer, right? And during my life, I want to get a lawyer no matter what happens with this because they owe us millions of dollars for what they've done to our brains and our nervous systems. And it's coming. Like this stuff is coming where it's not going to be like it's not going to be hard. It's like lawyers are going to be wanting to deal with this stuff. I believe, depending on how much the world changes, right? Maybe it's a pipe dream, maybe it's not, maybe it's not. I forgot what I was going to say. No, but the evidence of speaking out about it long before it was on a world stage, right? Any kind of evidence you have like that, I think is going to be important. Because it'll just be like, okay, these people, there's no way they could have imagined this before. I kind of stick on that point a lot. Some of the patients said the sense. Okay, some of the patients said the sensations seemed to follow them around their homes, apartments, and hotel rooms in the Cuban capital. Some of the patients described feeling as though they were standing in an invisible beam of energy. Because it is a energy. It is a beam of directed energy that comes down. Like right now, I have an electromagnetic field around my head and a stream of directed energy coming at my head. Let me tell you guys this. Ooh, I don't want to get too far off track because this is a long article, but I just want to say, with the Cause headphones and Dave CD, you'll know how I put on my headgear and then I put the headphones on top of them. Well, the other night I somehow ripped off all of my headgear in my sleep. I ripped off all my grounding in my sleep. So this is my attackers making me rip all this stuff off while I'm in my sleep. But I woke up and I was so tired. I didn't want to put all my headgear on, and so I just grabbed the headphones and they were playing Dave's CD. And so they were right by the ears. They didn't have the layers of the headgear kind of blocking them a little bit, and it was more effective. It was more effective in cutting my attackers off. So now what I've started doing is putting the headphones on first and then putting the headgear over it, and it's worked very well. Um, Kind of forgot my point on that one, but just to say, oh no, and I started doing that, and it was more effective. And immediately I started feeling heat above my head, and they were stimulating my cranial nerves to then send a signal down to the inner ear. Right? They switched to a different protocol more, which I think they do both protocols at the same time, but they put more power on that other protocol because it was more effective, like right next to the ear, right? This is a process that I think the main process of this that gives us pain is the with the cranial nerve stimulation, electromagnetic fields that conduct along the skin, and then the photonics to the eyes going through the vestibular system, right? And then it cavitates. It's this kind of complicated process of blood cavitation that can then send signals to the brain, right? can make the brain do certain things, can send signals to the nervous system. And maybe, maybe there are other ways, because I think about the streams of energy just straight to different parts of the brain, to nanotechnology that's actually passed through the blood-brain barrier. But that you know, I kind of know it's happening. Theorize strongly that it's happening, know that it's happening, but these other things with the vestibular system, I can feel. Like I can feel when I get Dave Case's CD real close to the ear, how the edges around will heat up because they're trying to get more directed energy through. And I think that's the electromagnetic field. And then they're also doing things where it would be cranial nerves are inside the brain going down to the inner ear, and that's just part of the targeting, right? That's just part of it, but a major part, like a major part that I see. I mean, like, look at what we know about this, right? And how I could talk to any doctors. If I sat down and had a real conversation with Dr. Hoffer, because it was more like a doctor's visit where it was like didn't have a lot of time, I could tell him about all this stuff. I could tell them what they can do, because like when I was little, I had Crohn's disease. I had to learn what my regular mind was. I had to learn what my homeostasis was because I'd get really sick, right? So God kind of brought me through those things as a youngster. And now when stuff is done to my brain and my feeling and stuff, it's very, and I mean, for a lot of you guys too, right? It's very obvious. And we know kind of what they're manipulating. So we need to help them with their investigation. We need to help them solve it and stop all this torture, because I know that's what they want to do, because they're agencies that want to protect the people, right? Out in public, they're going to have to be that, right? So let's grab their hand and bring them out into the public and solve this investigation, right? Out in the light where they won't be able to squirm around and stall and kill people more and do their little techniques. I was thinking about something the other day that really riled me. Let's get back to the art. Hopefully, I'll remember it. Hopefully, I'll remember it. Okay, some of feeling as though they were. Many of them suffered debilitating symptoms from headaches and vertigo to vision problems. Specialists at the University of Pennsylvania Center for Brain Injury and Repair used advanced MRIs to study the brains of 40 of the original patients from Havana. They found no signs of physical impact to the patient's skull. It was as if they had a concussion without a concussion, one specialist told me, and the team detected signs of damage to their brain. That's going to be the biggest for me. For me, because I'm not sure if I have any more implants in me. The ones they did put in me to track me mutilated those parts of my body, and the parts of the body had to be taken out. That's the thing that I was thinking about it. A foot of my colon and that tooth that had just been destroyed on the inside and created this infection up my jaw to my cheek. The parts of the body where they put in just tracking implants, they had sent so much microwave energy to them that they destroyed those parts of the body. You see how this program is much more, even if they had these protocols of like, we're going to put a tracking chip in somebody and we're not going to hurt them with it, it would still be brutally satanic and awful. But they go even further and they're like, oh, well, we got some tracking chips in somebody. Well, let's heat those babies up and mutilate their body because nobody's watching, and we can just do whatever we want to anybody we want with microwave weapons. We're gods now, right? Because they're insane. They're insane cultists. Like the people that are involved in helping this system to hurt any innocent person, they're cult members. They've lost it. They've lost it. They've been brainwashed. They're lost. They're gone. They're gone. There may be some people, I don't know, there may be some gang stalkers working for this program that don't have no idea or whatever, and like they can definitely get out of there and do better stuff with their life. But some of these people, the killers, they're just cult members who are gone. They're gone. Um, okay. Senior officials in the Trump and Biden administrations suspect that the Russians are responsible for the syndrome. It's like everywhere. It's like every military industrial complex, but it gets complicated because you have some American contractors that manufacture and use the weapons, do the experimentation, and they're international. So they do it in America on American citizens, but they work for other military industrial complexes of foreign nations in the UK, Australia, maybe even some nations where it's like we're supposed to be their enemies. There might be like Northrop and Grumman and stuff like I doubt in China. I doubt in China, but I'm sure that in other countries that are allies with this. I guess the international contractors for that were built in America or developed in America would not be working on Russian or Chinese soil. Um, okay, so their working hypothesis is that the operatives working for the GRU, the Russian Military Intelligence Service, have been aiming microwave radiation devices at U.S. officials, possibly to steal data from their computers or their smartphones, which inflicted serious harm on the people they target. Have been aiming microwave radiation devices on U.S. officials, possibly to steal data from their computers or smartphones. So we see it again. You saw that last mainstream article. They're wedging in. This is what they're doing because I've never heard this before until these new mainstream articles. Because they have to think of new lies to stall. So now they're saying, oh, that we figured out that the Russian military intelligence services have been aiming microwave radiation devices at U.S. officials, possibly just to steal data from their computers or smartphones. No, no, no. These integrated directed energy weapon systems with neuro weapons are specifically designed to steal information from the brain, to put information to the brain, to harm people, to fire directed energy weapons at them, to affect the brain and the nervous system. They're not accidentally doing it. The weapon systems are meant to connect with the brain, to fire on people, to torture them, to get information from the brain, and to put in, to inject information to the brain. And really psychically, if my attackers use psychic driving, right? So that's, in the olden days, it was when they would put on, somebody go to sleep and they put on the same voice over and over and over and over again in sounds, and it would drive this person insane, right? So what my attackers do with electromagnetic radiation, directed energy, remote neural manipulation, right, of visuals, emotions, bad things that have happened in my life, playing them over and over and over and over again, like obsessive compulsive disorder, but completely artificial. And they've been building this over the years, right, with the voice to skull in there, and it's supposed to just drive me crazy. It's supposed to just overload my brain, which it does. It's so many signals in so many the stimulation, right, from the V2K, the negative stimulation all the time. They're saying negative things for how many years? 2021, and the V2K started in like 2000, probably 2011. So 10 years, 10 years of nonstop voice to skull of military people going, get out of there. We got to do this. We got to kill him. You know, he's bad. He's bad. He's a bad person. We got to kill him. We got to take him out. Turn it up. No, don't touch that, right? And then the woman's like, we got to stop this. This is crazy. Blah, blah, blah. But psychic driving, right? The stuff that they do to me, it's just like the brain, like you can be the strongest person in the world, but if you're just sitting there 24 hours a day and in your sleep, and they're doing V2K and then pumping your brain full of electromagnetic frequencies to make you feel things and even think things, and it just goes on in your sleep and when you're awake and you're like trying, it it's an organic, it's a weapon. Spiritual level too, these people are full of demons, but you know we definitely, if we're getting shot with a bullet, God wants us to have a bulletproof vest on. Okay, so that's the second time I've heard that, possibly to steal data from their computers or smartphones. They're taking a U-turn, right, and they're throwing that in. These were just stuff to steal, and it just accidentally had this effect. But they've been torturing and experimenting on people. All the military-industrial complexes of like every country. They've been doing this since like the 1950s. Okay, so this isn't two people specifically, purposefully, right? This is a lie. This is gaslighting. This is gaslighting. It's an obvious lie to me, right? Because I'm a targeted individual. They're specifically hitting me with microwave weapons to do experimentation, torture, and it is a little bit operational because of how I've done my activism, right? It kind of flows from operational to experimental. We're experimenting on operational use of these weapons on targets, right? It does. I hope that makes sense. Um, I can't. But American intelligence analysis and operatives have so far been unable to find concrete evidence that would allow them to declare that either microwave radiation or the Russians were to blame. It's happening everywhere. Like, did the Russians hit the people at the Chinese consulate? Yeah, I could believe Russia was involved in the Cuban embassy attacks, and it got America out of there, right? So they do mention that. The FBI launched its own investigation into the events in Havana, but agents have so far found no dispositive evidence of any attacks. Profilers with the Bureau's Behavioral Analysis Unit conducted their own assessments of the Havana patients without interviewing them directly. The unit concluded that they were suffering from a mass psychogenic illness. The FBI. Listen to that. The FBI launched its own investigation of the events, and they came up with that these people were suffering from a mass psychogenic illness. Well, there's the FBI for you. Because they're the group, they're under a lot of the intelligence agencies and they've got to cover it up, but they come up with something really stupid, right? It's just, they're all crazy. They're all crazy people. A condition in which a group of people, often thinking that they have been exposed to something dangerous, begin to feel sick at the same time. And that was the FBI trying to cover it up, right? Until the big boys could get in there. The patients themselves, it's just so ridiculous. Like, if you're at the FBI and you can't, like, somebody calls in saying they're being hit with directed energy weapons, they've been experiencing Havana syndrome for like a decade or more, and they know that they're telling they know that the citizens telling the truth. They've probably been told how to handle those calls, right? Get off as quick as possible because it's really happening, and we don't want that stuff recorded. If you're at that point, that's way past treason, and it's like murderous neglect. It's like, I mean, even the people in the FBI who aren't doing it, if they're trying to just get away from the people that they need to help, right? That's a yeah. I mean, we're in the danger zone. We know that and everything. We're in the danger zone, and we went to the danger zone. Is it in that song? Do they ever say, "I went and I came back"? They just go there, right? Doesn't say anything about them coming back. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so they came up with a stupid stall tactic. Often thinking that they have been exposed to something dangerous, begin to feel sick at the same time. The patients themselves, as well as their University of Pennsylvania doctors and many government officials who have met with them, were infuriated by the Behavior Analysis Unit's assessment, which was based on transcripts of previous interviews that the FBI had done with some of the patients and on patient histories compiled by the individual's doctors, who had already ruled out mass psychogenic illness as the cause. According to these doctors, many of the patients didn't know that the other people were sick, and their bodies could not have feigned some of the physical symptoms that they were exhibiting. A U.S. official told me that the FBI is now reassessing its mass psychogenic illness conclusion in light of the newly reported cases. Yeah, they knew it wasn't that in the first place, but we can't talk like that, right? I want to get down to where it's happening in Vienna. This is a very long article because we know all this information. Let's see. On December 3rd, 2020, Gina Haspel, Trump's CIA director, whom White House national security officials described as skeptical. Uh-oh, my light went out. I wonder if my light. Oh, I wonder if it's the bulb. Oh, no, there it is. Hold on. That's my stupid attackers. They're really messing with stuff. They tried to freeze up the computer, especially before this article. They don't like this mainstream stuff, guys. Put out the mainstream stuff. Be a journalist. You don't have to be a targeted individual either. just be a journalist on Havana syndrome, right? Or do it like somebody was telling me John Rock and Autumn are putting out all the news reports on Havana syndrome. Please check out Autumn New Zealand. I just put in Autumn targeted individual. Amazing. She's a great researcher, puts it up. It's a great example of people, if you don't want to get up here, which I'd say is a good idea. um, I decided to do that a long time ago, and it's has good things and bad things about it. But if you're a targeted individual, you don't want to show your face, you don't want anybody hearing your voice, you want to remain anonymous, right? Do anonymous YouTube channel name, don't put your name up there, and then just on YouTube, if you see a video that it's very important about our issue, mirror it up on your page, and it's very easy. You just get Y2Mate. It's like Y2Mate, and then you can just take the link from the video, put it in there, download it on your computer, and then go to your YouTube uploads, right? Upload, and then pick that file, put it in there, and mirror it, right? We should all be doing that. It's very simple. If you don't know, I mean, I guess I should maybe do a video on how to do that. I think I mean, I guess people do it and then they think everybody else knows how to do it. But there was a time when I didn't know how to do it. So maybe I should do a video. It's a very simple process, and then we can have targeted individuals on your page. Just when you find an important video, you have to be kind of careful about copyrights, though. You have to make sure it's not a video where you're going to get in copyright trouble. A simple process, a super simple process for taking that video and putting it up on your channel. Just don't go, kind of look at Autumn's channel and watch how she does it, because she does it in a really good way, and she doesn't like just put up other people's like complete work, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just take people's, like, one person's channel and okay. Let's get back to the article. I may do a video on that. It's a very simple process, but I think a lot of you guys would like to do that, and then it would kind of get this networking of information going on. This kind of you have one mirror here, and it's pushing the light to that mirror and this mirror and this mirror, and before you know it, the whole room is just lit up, right? Yeah, you know, what they did in Legend, what they did in the movie Legend. Just watch the movie Legend, and they got to get the light from the top of the tower down to the unicorn where they're about to sacrifice the unicorn. They use all these silver plates. Okay, back to the article. Um, okay, so Gina Haskell said she was skeptical that the syndrome was real, sent a message to CIA officers worldwide encouraging them to report any unexplained health incidents that might be Havana syndrome. So at that point in time, the Trump administration decided to stall on it, decided to just say, we're skeptical of those things. We just don't know what it is. And Trump wasn't moving forward with any investigation. Then when Biden got into office, it's time to deal with this, right? I'm not sure if Trump made that decision or it was just like what the timing was going to be of an investigation and stuff like that. Really makes me disappointed, and it really makes me question, right? Makes me question how real Trump was, that he didn't go after this if he knew that citizens were being attacked by this. I think it's always just going to be Trump did some good stuff, but he was controlled too, because anybody who gets up there, is controlled. I'm not sure, guys. Let's get off of that. Let's get off of that. When I talk about Trump, we get, people have a lot of different views on it. So when Trump left office, there were no reported cases at the U.S. Embassy in Vienna, whose CIA station is one of the largest in the world. So Vienna, Austria. So the Austrian intelligence, right? Austrian intelligence is hooking into the heads of the embassy workers in Vienna, probably. I don't think it's Russia. Maybe it is Russia, but I would say it's the Austrian intelligence. And what America does is they put in embassy workers, but they're really CIA. They're dual. They're CIA agents and embassy workers. And I think these countries are like, hell no, you're not putting your spies in your embassies, right? Where they're doing spy work on the side and then saying they're embassy workers. Not 100% sure, but I think that's what's going on. And I think 100% sure that we can say in other country, I mean, in our country, America, that we're doing this to some other embassy workers, like from China, who are also secret. They're working for intelligence agencies, but posing not just, I would say it's not just posing as embassy workers. I'd say they are trained as embassy workers and they are also intelligence agents, because that's the way it's working in the world. The CIA is just taking over everything. These intelligence agencies are like deputizing people. They're not full-fledged agents, but it's like they report to the CIA or they report to the NSA. It's not just like, oh, you're a CIA agent or you're not a CIA agent. It's much more complicated. Even the executives of some of these manufacturers of directed energy weapons, right? They used to work for the CIA, and then they said they resigned from the CIA and became an executive, say, of Northrop and Grumman, right? They're still CIA. They still report to the CIA. And that's the way it's done. Okay, so where were we? Vienna has long been a den of spies. The city is home to many large UN agencies, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, and the International Atomic Energy Agency, among other international bodies that employ officials from around the world that have access to information of interest to U.S. and foreign intelligence services. In addition to significant numbers of American, British, Chinese, French, and Russian spies, the Iranians, the Syrians, and the North Koreans, among others, are believed to have operatives on the ground in Vienna. I mean, it would be remote attacks. And that's why I think it's either, I mean, it would have to be Austrian intelligence, is what I'm thinking, because they would be using their weapon system grid to do it, which probably, yeah. But maybe they're doing it in league with another country, right? For some deal. Like we'll do this if y'all give us this kind of information or this kind of technology, right? Or maybe someone just like Cuba. I think Russia gave Cuban intelligence a lot of that remote neural manipulation, the integrated directed energy weapon systems with neuro weapons built in, right? I think it would have to have been Russia that gave Cuban intelligence that, because I can't see America giving Cuban intelligence those weapon systems, right? And it may be the same thing in Austria, where someone gave them weapons. I would think Austria, though, it would be America, it would be their ally. You know, so I don't know why Austrian intelligence. I don't know. I got to think about that a little bit more. Let's just read this. Um, okay, so if you spy against other governments, okay, traditionally, Austria's domestic security services have turned a blind eye to foreign intelligence operations on Austrian soil, so long as those operations don't threaten Austrian interests. If you spy against other governments in Vienna, you're left alone. That's what everybody likes. Siegfried Beer, the founder of the Austrian Center for Intelligence, Propaganda, and Security Studies, wow, located on the campus of the University of Graz, said, "This is why, when spies are detected, they disappear quickly." U.S. intelligence officers, especially those with families, have long sought out assignments in Vienna because the city is seen as a safe, comfortable, and interesting place to live and work. Our job is to try to get access to people and recruit them. John Cipher, who retired from the CIA in 2014 after a 28-year career in the National Clandestine Service, which including serving in Moscow and running the CIA's Russian operations, said, "Vienna is perfect. Everyone is there. It's good living and it's good hunting, and you don't have to worry too much about getting caught. And it's good hunting, and you don't have to worry about CIA hunting down people in Austria." As famously depicted in the Graham Greene classic The Third Man, Austria was occupied by the Soviets, the Americans, the British, and the French after the Second World War. When the occupation ended in 1955, the Austrian parliament declared the country's neutrality, committing to neither being in the US nor Soviet camp. Their hope was to be a bridge between East and West. Like, I'm not saying that this is happening, but America could be doing remote attacks to its own embassy workers and agents in Austria to like say that Russia did it, right? Like a lot of these situations, it could be the actual, it could be so false flaggy, right? Because they've been doing false flags in the seat for so long, and I've kind of had gaslighting done to me as a single target individual, where somebody like tells me I'm gaslighting them, right? And it becomes like that, right? It get the deceit is like we'll accuse them of deceit, we'll do it and accuse them of doing it, right? And it goes further and further to the psychopathic like, extreme of just like twisting the whole situation, doing the evil thing, then blaming the person, right? And that's how a false flag's done. But more lies on top of it. When the Cold War ended, Austrian neutrality remained formally in place. At times, Vienna's insistence on staying neutral, even in the face of blatant acts of aggression by Russian President Vladimir Putin and his intelligence services, became a source of frustration in Washington. One of those moments came in early 2018 when Trump's national security team tried to persuade the Austrians to join the British and other Europeans in expelling Russian spies to protest the GRU's attempted assassination in Britain of Sergei Skripal, a former Russian military intelligence officer who had been a double agent for the UK's intelligence services. Our point was, look, they're using your territory as a proving ground, a former Trump administration official told me. And they said, this isn't our fight. We've never had problems like this. They're actually kind of nice to us. Okay, let's go to the part where they're... This is the background this is the background that the intelligence agencies are trying to give, right? Of Russia and America kind of being there, and on Vienna staying neutral. So it's kind of a fight between Russia and America to claim territory or whatever. That's what they're kind of building up here. But I just want to get to the actual, stuff about the remote microwave attacks. In September 2019, 3 weeks before a snap Austrian election, Kurz's Conservative People's Party disclosed that its computer networks had been hacked. Okay. These were shots across Austria's bow by the Russians. The Austrians were waking up. So the whole article is built up to frame Russia as the attacker, right? Even if they don't say it outright and they're like, we're not sure, but the history that they're giving and everything is to really point the finger at Russia, and we see that. Later that year, the Austrians took what U.S. officials saw as an extraordinary step. The Austrian Foreign Ministry expelled a Russian diplomat who reportedly had been engaged for years in economic espionage at a technology firm. Senior American diplomats and spies in Vienna were on the lookout for Havana syndrome. The embassy in Vienna was better prepared for the ailment than most. It has its own relatively well-equipped health clinic. The U.S. Embassy is well guarded, with the street in front of it closed off on both ends to prevent vehicles from parking nearby. Listen, the U.S. Embassy is well guarded, with the street in front of it closed off on both ends to prevent vehicles from parking nearby. Pedestrians who try to take pictures of the building are often stopped and questioned by the security guards who patrol the area. Employees don't live in the embassy compound. They rent houses and apartments all around the city where presumably they have far less security. Oop. Okay, give it a second, guys. Okay, Burns, the CIA director, who had twice served in Moscow as a State Department diplomat, believed that the agency had failed to direct enough intelligence resources to the syndrome investigation under Trump. He assembled a new targeting team of senior analysis and operators to try to answer two questions as quickly as possible. What is causing Havana syndrome and who is responsible? Well, every military industrial complex of every nation is responsible, and a huge network of intelligence agencies, and then above, well, we'll just say intelligence agencies, military, industrial complex, intelligence agencies, and then contractors, right? The DoD, everybody's military is putting out contracts to larger contractors to manufacture and experiment on the weapons, but then subcontractors under them to also do experimentation with the weapons, who probably work out of military bases and facilities, right? Now it's probably divided up, since there's all this new cyber stuff, right? Where they're hacking into things and they're stopping hacking, and they're hacking into brains and bodies and firing directed energy weapons on people. It's probably not just old school military bases that you would think of, but like military facilities where they do these, like with the integrated weapon systems, where they do that, the torture and the surveillance and everything like that. So they probably built a new kind of thing, but the public's not going to know about it, and they're not going to be writing about it in any kind of magazine. So we always ask, are they doing, or this is me, I'm like, are they doing this in corporate buildings, or are they doing this in like a military base, where it's like a military base, and you think of a military base with like, offices, but not really not really used for computer stuff, but they come up with new things, right? Where they're kind of mixing a corporate building with a military base because of all the technology, right? Frankenstein monsters is what they're all about. Mad scientists build Frankenstein monsters that then kill. In the movie, didn't Frankenstein kill somebody, and then the people came with the fire, and then I can't remember what happened in the movie, but I'm sure it was bad because it's like a big monster, you know. Did he? I think he walked into the water or something and just drowned it. Drowned it. Okay, sorry guys. Um, so Burns' new targeting team has not yet uncovered new intelligence, and I can just tell them exactly what this is. We can all tell them exactly what this is. Citizens that are called mentally ill, I can go up to the director of the CIA and say, I have solved your case. I know what this is. And it's a complicated thing, but I can give you the gist. I can give you the elevator pitch, right? Which I think, like, if we're calling people, that's why I'm going to be doing some more attempts. Doesn't look like I got in trouble for putting the DHS and talking to the FBI up on the videos, on the vids. Probably they probably got more surveillance on me or something like that. But that's good. I want this is how I think of it, guys. Like, okay, you got your microwave attackers hitting you, and that's a line, right? I'm not talking about the microwave energy. It's a line of attack to you. Then you got the gang stalkers. It's a line of attack to you, right? You got the DHS fusion centers, like doing some surveillance, switching up lights and stuff like that, like stopping traffic lights where they give out tickets if you screw up on that traffic light, right? All these different lines and of the DOJ being involved, the Pentagon being involved, all these different lines of attack on our communication networks, right? But you've got all these agencies, you've got people that are siloed out of knowing how deadly it is. And what I want to do with all these lines of attack, right, is I want to grab them and I want to twist them together, right? I want everything to be de-siloed and get myself out there so that everybody's like, oh, we're putting all this stuff on this guy. Like you guys, we're putting all these things, all these different things to crush a human being, because a lot of them, they're unaware. They just do their little part, right? Um, but in a bigger way, the different agencies that are involved in this in little ways, I want to take the lines coming at us. They've been these lines for a long time, and it's a weird metaphor, but the lines of attack coming to us have been separated, right? To where they're all attacking us, but they're not going to get confused by each other's actions, right? We don't want them to work together. We want to grab them and tie them up, right? We want to confuse the issue. Not confuse the issue for us, but we want to keep piling on the pressure. Hey, there's an investigation into people being hit with remote microwaves. The Havana Act literally means helping American victims against neurological attacks. That is awesome. And we can use that whenever you're talking to somebody, say, they have just passed legislation, the Havana Act, helping American victims against neurological attacks. I'm an American. I'm experiencing neurological attacks. I'm being fired upon by neuro weapon systems, right? So neuro weapon systems are inside the integrated directed energy weapon system. Neuro weapon is a directed energy weapon, but a directed energy weapon isn't always a neuro weapon, because you have some directed energy weapons that just hit the body, right? So it's kind of like that. Um, we have got ammunition, guys. We've got ammunition. I heard, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna make a separate video about that. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with some of the darker things that are going on, with targeted individuals. Somebody left a comment and some another really bad thing happened. There's tons of really bad stuff going on. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that and how it can help us. But this is the time to be smart, guys. This is the time you can win and you can have victories and you can just. I don't want to say anything like a bad word or anything, but you can kick dirt in these people's faces right now. If you do this the right way, any kind of violence, they're going to get you, and your attackers are going to be like, mission accomplished. You know, we got to turn this upside down because they have turned it up. They've inverted things. We got to turn the tables. And Gandalf is going to be waiting at the top of the hill, the first light, first coming light. So ride out. So ride out. Have we stopped? Okay. So Burns knew blah 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 new intelligence to assess with confidence the cause of the syndrome or to identify who was responsible, a process that the U.S. intelligence agencies call attribution. The analytic line has not changed in the intelligence community in terms of cause and possible attribution. A senior Biden administration official told me, but we are intensively trying to determine the cause, intent, and the role of any foreign actor. Well, it's all countries, so the United States is also doing it to its citizens. Every other country is doing it to its citizens. They're trading up on the technology and data, right? I definitely think this. I definitely think that, like with America, Russia, and China, with their smaller allies, they like. Let's take Russia. Let's say Russia gave um, uh, integrated directed energy weapon systems and neuro weapons to Cuba, right? So and this goes right into the whole Cuban embassy attack, right? They give the Cuban intelligence these weapons, and they say, "Well, we want you to hit these people, and not only that, we want a lot of the data that you're collecting from America, because if Cuban intelligence has remote weapon systems that use satellite and radar, microwave tower, they can remote manipulate and attack people like in Florida. How far? How far? I mean, I think all over. I think they're in a better position to attack Americans, right? This stuff is dangerous. It must be brought out because these are weapon systems that can hurt people, and like they're all geolocated, right? Around like Cuba is not necessarily the best friends with America, right? They're better friends with Russia. Am I getting that wrong? I think so. I think that's yeah. Okay. Where were we here? Okay, the number of possible syndrome cases around the world fluctuates frequently as new suspected cases are added to the list, while other cases deemed by doctors to be unrelated ailments are removed from the list. There are tens of millions and maybe more people around the world being affected by this, being experimented on, tortured by this stuff. So they're playing around like, oh, it's over 200, but then some more people are coming in and we're ruling these out because it's not exactly like the first ones, right? That's a bad thing because we know there's some different ways people can be hit. Some people may have marks in their ears from some of the protocols or the specific kind of weapon system that group is using to torture them. Another weapon system may have different effects on the brain, right? Like may not leave marks or something like that. We don't know because there's different contractors doing it. So them taking the first thing and going, oh, it has to be exactly like this is completely dumb because they need to know like it can be kind of there can be different symptoms. There can be a lot of different symptoms when you're playing with directed energy weapon, manipulating the brain in the vestibular system, in the nervous system, and in the external weapons, right? And then infrasound and ultrasound. What are they trying to do to the person that they're targeting? And it can be, it can be kind of different in some small ways. Um, as of late May, more than 130 possible cases have been reported around the world. Like I said, there's at least tens of millions of cases around the world, at the very least. We don't know the big numbers, but citizens, agents, All the people getting hit, it's in the tens of millions. That's a low balling number around the globe. I just want to say, like, at the very least 10 million cases of people being brutally tortured with microwave weapons, with remote microwave weapons, and compare it to 130, right? And we see that's gaslighting. 130 compared to, like, at the minimum, tens of millions of cases around the world, right? At the very, very minimum. And I want to just compare those numbers so we say that's not just a lie, that's gaslighting. Because everybody, like the people who are being hit, know that there's so many people being hit that they know, so they know the truth, right? So that's gaslighting. It's a lie. It's a lie that millions of people can say that's a lie, right? Because I'm being hit, and nobody, and all these people that I know are being hit, right? And it's millions of people who know that lie. So that's gaslighting, right? Um, oh, I'm losing my place a lot. The CIA accounted for some 50 of those cases. The rest were mostly U.S. military and State Department personnel and their family members. A senior national security official recently told me of the latest case count. The only thing we can say definitively on the number is that we don't know the exact number. 130 cases. How many were the first possible syndrome case in Vienna was reported a couple of months after Biden's inauguration. That case and subsequent ones were reported to officials in Washington soon after they occurred, but the Biden administration decided not to announce the Vienna outbreak. Officials were concerned that any public disclosure about the cases would hamper ongoing U.S. intelligence and law enforcement investigations, which are still underway in Vienna. The Austrian embassy in Washington declined to comment on the cluster of cases. Many American officials who suspect that Russian operatives and technology were responsible for the syndrome believe that among Moscow's goals in Cuba was to see whether they could force the U.S. to scale back its presence on the island. So that seems like it, hey, Cuba will give you these advanced weapons probably like a long time ago, but you got to do some stuff for us. You got to give us data, and then when we say we want to do some kind of an operational thing, you're going to have to do that, right? Um, if so, then Moscow's mission was accomplished. The CIA station in Havana was shuttered by the agency's then director, Mike Pompeo, and the U.S. diplomatic presence was curtailed dramatically by then Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. It is unclear what impact, if any, the new cases have had on the U.S. diplomatic and intelligence activities in Vienna. If the Russians are in fact to blame, as many top Biden administration officials believe, their goal remains unknown. They may have they may have hoped that the incidents in Vienna would force U.S. diplomats and spies to leave the city. There's no indication that the embassy, well, it worked in Cuba, right? So, I mean, doing the same thing. Somebody wants them out of there. I think it's happening in every country. In embassy workers, this is something that every country has been doing. Is they'll train embassy workers to be CIA agents or their intelligence agencies. So they're both. They have the talents and abilities of both, right? And I think many countries have been doing that. But now it's like kind of a declaration of, look, we've got these weapons and all this crap, this old school crap. It's not going to work. We're going to just look into their brains and we're going to get them out of there, right? So it's like a message from Austria, like, get your agents out of here, United States, right? And the United States is probably doing it. So some Chinese embassy workers that are trained also to be part of the Chinese Communist Army or whatever, or the intelligence agency within China. I 100%, like, I mean, I know I can't prove that, right? But just with what happened to Cuba and how it's going on, it seems like that's the most likely thing. It's a kind of a signal from all these countries with these weapons that the old ways of spying is dead, and you got to get it out of here, right? You know, scary, scary. Okay, so it's unclear if the Russians are in fact to blame, as many top Biden administration officials believe. Their goal remains unknown. They may have hoped that the incidents in Vienna would force U.S. diplomats and spies to leave the city. There's no indication that the embassy or the station have been downsized. They may also have been trying to hamper American efforts to close ranks with the Austrians. The senior Biden administration official told me, "We have not determined intent or motive. We do not have a view on that yet." Okay. All right. So that's the end of the article. It was kind of a long article, but I thought it was really important, right? Because it shows that it keeps coming out, right? News of it happening, these incidents happening in new places, and it's like they're trying to cover it up and just say, oh, these are new incidents, right? But I think that people can put together that citizens have been saying they've been being hit by these weapons for a long time, and then we see the operational overpour, right? Of all these different countries operationally hitting embassy workers, right? And I don't just think it's Russia. I think other countries are also kind of signaling, we know you've got CIA agents in here, we want them out. This is not, you can't do that, right? All the while being the most hypocritical satanic thing of using microwave weapons when the public doesn't know, right? But I think that these countries are kind of, they're having this directed energy weapon Cold War, while the public is like, oh, it's a mystery and they're investigating into it, right? But the different countries with these weapons are giving each other definitive signals. I think the Cuban embassy attack was a definitive signal to America from Russia, right? That things can't be done the same way. Or Cuban intelligence, but I doubt just Cuban intelligence because they would not have just had those weapons on their own. All right, guys. So this was a long one, but very important article. I'm going to put it in the description. Things keep rolling out, right? Things keep rolling out. And I think I'm going to do just read the comments on that last video. They were really good. And then the defense video, because I want to get y'all's voice in here, even though we're not doing live streams anymore. Still kind of want to get what y'all think about certain situations and also good ideas too about defense. That entrainment device is like $300, so I keep hesitating, but I'm going to do that. Um, I'm going to be thinking of some more stuff. Dave Case's CD, the best thing, and then switch it in and out with the noise canceling hearing aids. I'd say to put Dave Case's CD on with the headphones first, and then put your headgear over it. If you're doing that, you want it like going directly in the ear. You want the headphone covering the entire ear hole, because with the electromagnetic fields that they're creating, and it conducts along the skin, but it also comes in this way. It'll get in, they're trying to get in the ear that way. Also, other ways too, but it'll really help if you can block direct entry into the ear and eyes, right? Please don't forget this. This is a big change. This is a big deal. These and then the red glasses. And somebody sent me a text of exactly like what they're called and everything, but I can't remember. Uh, it's basically red light there. It blocks certain blue light. It blocks things that zap your melatonin, right? Those red glasses. I think I might try those tonight when I sleep. I might switch them out. I think maybe my attackers maybe didn't want me wearing those, so they did other stuff where I was like, oh well, these don't work as well. So I think I'm gonna try them for like a week maybe. They're just a lot hard. Like these, everything's kind of darkened a little bit for the polarized sunglasses. Everything's a little bit darkened, but it's not too bad. With the red glasses, it's like I can't see anything. So I just have to use them when I sleep, I think, or maybe I'll get some lighter ones or something like that. All right, guys, I love y'all. I'll definitely see y'all soon. Please check out. I think I can say this right. I heard one YouTuber say he couldn't mention his other channels, but please, like I'm mirroring or I'm uploading any video that I do on YouTube to BitChute and Odyssey. Vulcan Wolverine on BitChute and Vulcan Wolverine on Odyssey. I think there's a space between the one on BitChute. No, I think there's a space between the one on DLive. But on Odyssey and BitChute, just look up Vulcan Wolverine, and any videos that aren't fit for YouTube, which I'm gonna make some. because I've got to talk about some of the very important issues. It's getting really bad, right? We all know it's getting really bad. I'm being murdered. I'm being tortured in my home, and I'm in a race to like not lose, not let my attackers encroach too much on my brain, so I can get myself back, right? Get them off of me, crazy, and then the whole world is going insane, right? Let God be our rock in the name of Jesus Christ. He's given me so much strength, and He's put it in my heart to do the things that I'm doing. And I know He's put it in y'all's heart, whoever's listening to this video, to whatever path you're going on. Bless you. God bless you, and God protect you in the name of Yeshua, in the name of Jesus Christ. Whatever He's put in your heart, your mission, right? I feel, and I just want to say this at the end of this. I know that people are like, Tanya, you comment, you said, we miss you. I miss you too. I miss you too, hon. This is good. This is what I needed, and I prayed about it. And I know a lot of you miss the live streams. Maybe, this is. I'll be able to get out more information. I prayed about it a lot. Holy gamoly, there's so many pros about having a live stream, right? So many pros. But the cons, they're not, the cons of it, they're not reconcilable. It's not something that I'll be able to deal with, right? Um, with the way that targeted individuals are treated and things happen, right? And I don't want to go into all the details, but it's just not the smart way to do things. Lots of pros. The biggest pro being, really awesome target individuals who are so smart, who can put information in, and then I can have more information about the topic that I'm talking about, or a topic that I didn't know, right? That in this time, what we're dealing with, it would be invaluable. So trust me, I understand that. But the cons, you know, if we're not gonna, we don't deal with some certain things, and I don't know if we're equipped right now, and I've just got to do things the smart way, right? I think people should do live streams. I've just been moderating and doing live streams, and with the mind control and stuff my attackers are doing to me. This I can put out information fast, just like it's good. It's good. All right, guys. I love y'all. I love y'all, and I'll definitely see you on the next one. Like I can pump out some good information. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'd say keep active. Keep active in these times when you're targeted. If you feel like you can't get out of bed, then do something for your mind. Do something for defense. Do something where you're headed that way of trying to get out of that bed, trying to stop the pain. Right, blocking the vestibular system in the top of the head and the neck and all around here, it will give you some relief. Mix it with grounding, it will definitely give you some relief. Like fix everything, I don't know. Some people have listened to Dave K's CD and they said my targeting went away. But I think I've got a lot of nanotechnology in me, and I've got this team that no matter what, they're human operators on there doing brain to computer interface. So it's like no matter how magnificent the miracle, the defensive miracle, they have to get around. Like the guy, like last night I was listening to it when I went to sleep, and I had it close to my ears, and the lady goes, like I could feel relaxation in my body, and she goes, "Oh, I got it." And the guy goes, "Who cares? He's done that before. What's the difference?" Like, because I've kind of cut things off before, and he was like, "Who cares? We'll reconnect with it." So I think sometimes it kind of knocks them off. You can still hear the V2K and stuff, but it's not as tight of a lock on your brain as they want, and so they can't do a bunch of stuff at the time. It kind of hits them off, and then they got to do. And then I'll notice the next day they'll be doing the ring in the ears very forcefully, and I think that's when you're getting a lot of ring in your ears. I think they're connecting. That's when they're connecting with your brain's resonance. Could be doing other things too, right? But I notice when I knock them off, they'll aggressively do like a field around my head, and the ringing will be weird. It will be really aggressive, external. It'll be really aggressive and external to the outside of my head. So Or that's the way it feels, right? That's the way it feels. I love you guys. I've been babbling too long. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Just okay. I'm getting about an hour on reading articles. I know a lot of you guys maybe you're like, you read the whole article or stuff like that. I'm gonna work on that. But some of these articles are very important, and I want to speak to the wording that they're using, and then put in the true narrative of what's happening, right? What's happening with targeted individuals. All right, guys. God bless y'all. God strengthen you. God protect you. In the name of Jesus Christ. 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 Let Jesus put His blood on all targeted individuals out there. Anybody feeling pain from tyranny. Let the Holy Spirit inside of us, the Helper inside of us, give us a pathway, a safe pathway, love, joy, strength, everything good and divine. That's what we fight with. That's what's precious. That's what we hold on to. That's what we protect, right? No matter how dark the world gets, we do the right thing. We listen to God, whatever He says to do, right? Whatever He says to do. All right, guys, I love y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. These articles are just going to keep coming out. These new incidents are going to keep coming out. And I'm just going to call this, I'm going to title this, well, for people that are hanging around, I'm just going to title it in quotations, Vienna is the new Havana syndrome hotspot, in hopes, right? So if you're a targeted individual and you do a video on like an article, just use the name of that article. So hopefully it will be in Google, right? The articles will be there, then your YouTube video. I doubt that's going to happen because they have different filters for national security information like this. They want their mainstream articles and the propaganda up, but they wouldn't throw mine in there where I'm adding in that citizens are also being tortured, right? We're going to get in there that we wedge ourselves in. The door's open. The baby's head is out. The cat's arms and heads are out of the bag. Whatever metaphor the thing is like out, right? It's just grabbing that thing and pulling, And I think, well, we'll go into that in some other videos. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.